Mas eu não vou fazer porque eu tô com medo de repetir. Então a gente vai fazer o caminho do tempo, né?
It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe it could take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Of course, Renato had a pretty strong suspicion that Lapino had betrayed him, and he had a gut feeling that he needed to use that to his advantage.
Eu lembro que tinha um caminho que ele me matou com a pedra, mas não vamos fazer isso agora. Vamos para o tempo.
No one went there except ostriches.
Não upei nenhum level nesse. Chateei. Provavelmente tenha mais uns 9 vídeos, hein? Ou ele libere mais alguma coisa espetacular.
Every child could sing verses about the Sky River, but ancient codices held hints of other things. A stone that ate souls, a ruby that drank blood, a jewel only a righteous man could give away. Were all those things the Iblis stone? Long hidden in a buried temple, another ancient item that was only resurfacing now, drawn up from the deeps by the Emperor's horrific rituals? Cawing in frustration. He was still searching for a way in. Good. And he hadn't come too late. Wait, what? How was he outside? Hadn't he taken an elevator into the depths of the earth? There had to be some way to use the Iblis stone. It was old, wasn't it? People are so much cleverer now. And Renato was pretty sure he was cleverer than most people. $5 to be Raven. Thank you, I think. Said Renato. It never hurt to be polite. The Ravens at least could not get past this point. Obviously, the Temple Planets knew how to deal with Tomb Raiders. Renato hated cannon traps. Also, who reloaded these things anyway? He never figured that part out. It was a stone of the purest blackness.
Usamos a pedra.
It reflected no light, like a void made solid. Nervous, he picked it up. Who said that? It was the stone. Eager, thirsty. That seemed tempting and terribly wrong. Zenobia was the Emperor's greatest general and a potent witch. But they had been close once, and he had a sneaking suspicion the gem would try to control it. Why not capture the core of Sky Ripple instead? It was the eye of a lost god, torn out by the transcendent Emperor to power his greatest weapon. Said the stone anxiously. But even though Renato knew how evil the gem was, he had a clever plan for dealing with it. The stone bothered him. He hated being told what to do. Wasn't that why he joined the rebellion? Wasn't that why he'd refused to be a soldier? He'd agreed to come on board only if he could freelance. The stone felt a bit clingy, and he had a feeling it did not have his best interests at heart. The sage Calaveras told him where to find the Sky Ripple, a weapon capable of challenging the gods. Even without its armature, the core would still possess great power. He would go there.
Mais uma.
The moment he landed the Farfarer, Renato had a rare feeling of regret. It's not too late, he thought. He could turn around himself as Zenobia's eye. He frowned. Wait a minute. He didn't want to kill Zenobia, did he? Sure, technically she was the enemy, but they'd been at Swordfield School together. They'd never been lovers, but somehow they'd been closer. She'd told him every secret about herself. Except the biggest one. That she was the Emperor's daughter. There was something sour in the air. Like the earth had ruptured over something that had been fermenting for a very long time. Matter of hope that the other end of this portal wasn't suspended over the abyss. The stone hadn't lied about what it could do for him. With each raven he cut down, he felt a jolt of power flowing into his arm. Whispered the stone. The core. Are you afraid of it? It chuckled. If you try to use it, it will explode. Renato did not trust rocks that talked in his head. He went onwards. approached the core, the stone became hysterical. He had a sudden vision of plunging his gauntlet into the core and dying in anguish. That wasn't his vision, was it? The stone had sent him its darkest fears, hadn't it? He had a sudden impulse to do exactly that. He raised his right fist and plunged it into the core. There was a rush of light. He thought he could hear the stone screaming. And then he passed out. When Ronaldo came to, the core was gone. But the Iblis stone was no longer black, but glowing with a blue light. And it was silent. "I can't hear you," he sang out. And you? It didn't answer. "Ha!" he said. He had defeated the demonic gem with the power of his mind. He felt invincible. It was time to attack the Imperial outpost on the Nexus. Take the battle to the enemy. But among the huge crystals, there was also an observatory. A wise man would probably ask the scientists exactly what he had first. How wise was he? As the Farfarer made its way toward the Nexus, Bernardo watched sparks fly out of the core. The Iblis stone sucked them in hungrily. You'd think the stone would want this kind of power, wouldn't it? Thought Bernardo. Well, the scientists would explain it all. This time, Bernardo was sure he'd figured out how to use the core safely. See? He'd trusted his gut, and it had worked out. That's what it meant to be a hero. To ignore the naysayers and the odd-makers, and do what you knew was right, and have it turn out to be the right thing. Well, he wasn't worried. Once he got to the observatory, the scientist Toads could explain it. Then he could carry the war into the enemy's camp and destroy them all. He was getting a little bloodthirsty, wasn't he? Bernardo had heard stories of a dungeon where chests were filled with potions and weapons. Bernardo had never felt better in his life. Normally, a battle would wear him down and he would need a night's sleep. Now he felt like he could go all night, all day. He felt like people were cheering him on, and he could practically hear their applause as he slew one raven after another. The Iblis Stone and the Skyrim Core. Two artifacts from the time of legends. Bernardo was becoming a legendary hero, wasn't he? He had enough power to save the rebellion, but he had to understand this power, so he would not misuse it. The Toads at the observatory measured the stone with their occult devices. I fed it the core of Sky River, explained Renato. No more feeding by themselves.
But the core is not an unlimited energy source,
said one Toad. Another said,
there's a feedback loop, you see, which could overload the stone. But stone doesn't actually feed on souls,
claimed a third.
but on pain of killing another sentient being. If you can truly be at peace with yourself, it would not overload.
This was all very confusing. At peace. Yes, the mountains were peaceful and quiet, but he now had the power to turn the tides. He should report to the Rebellion Council and prepare for the decisive battle.
Das montanhas.
The one thing he understood from all the Toad arguments, maybe the stone did not feed on blood, or souls, or rage. It fed on empathy. It fed on the pain he felt when he put an end to another being's existence. Even if that other being was a raven intent on killing him, if he could find peace, then he could use the power of the Iblis stone without being taken over by its evil. Yes, that was the way to defeat the Iblis stone. The mountains. He would go to the mountains. He could find peace there.
Vamos procurar a paz e depois barcos.
Unfortunately, the mountains were not empty. There were ravens everywhere. No matter. He had to fight, yes, but he didn't have to be angry. Parry, dodge, slash, breathe. Yes, focus on the rhythm, the dance, not on the blood, or the raven's paw as they died. It was working. He wasn't feeling those dark jolts of eldritch energy. He wasn't feeling the Iblis stone. Okay, let's get this over with, and we can all go home. Well, not you, just me.
Mas se você não faz combo, você não mata.
The stone was still silent. His mind was his own, and his heart too. He bore them no ill will, these ravens. They were doing their job. They were expressing their nature. Dance, whirl, parry, jab, and breathe. It was all so simple, wasn't it? Something was missing. He didn't feel truly at peace. Wait. Wasn't this near a Calaveras? The sage would help him figure it all out.
Chegando ao topo.
had given Ronaldo enough power to challenge the Imperial fleet. But what Ronaldo was seeking was inertia. The rebellion was on the verge of extinction. It would have to wait. At the end of the mountain path, he found the wise Calaveras in his workshop. To fix souls or only artifacts? He asked the sage.
Does your man's soul need fixing?
Asked the sage. I've been killing a lot of ravens lately. He told the sage.
You're a fox,
Said Calaveras.
and to kill birds is part of your nature. You should take joy in it. I mean, I just don't worry about eating flies. Don't you like a fly?
It was true. That's the joy. Now he was ready for the final battle. The Farfarer cut through the clouds. The air had never felt so sweet since he was a child. There it was. The dreaded Imperial fleet. He could smell wet hemp ropes ahead. Wood and tar and ravens. Even the fleet smelled good, somehow. He was ready.
Nossa, eu virei homem de paz agora.
He was ready. Ronaldo had it all squared away in his head. He would kill the Emperor. Iceland III had begun well, but he had gone mad. He was trying to invoke the lost gods by means of dark, blasphemous rituals. That was a secret. But the victims had spoken to Ronaldo. The ghosts had spoken. No anger. Ronaldo could not afford anger. He was empowering the crystal in his sword. That made him stronger, but it clouded his mind. He would not be a hero. A hero who strives. Ronaldo would just be one with everything. The Emperor would die, and the wheel would turn, and all would be restored without wrath, without sorrow, without pain. But the more he thought about it, he had so much more time to think about it now that he was not worrying about the battle. Killing the Emperor would not change anything. Another would take his place. Perhaps as an idea. Perhaps the speaker of the Rebel Council. Power would corrupt them too, and death would make
Easy.
grief would lead to hatred. You must lead by example. Reject the violence. Reject the disaster. Embrace violence. But how?
Por aqui.
Soon he'd confront the Emperor. Funny that this whole war had come about because the Emperor feared death. Now he was coming for him. There was some sort of lesson there, wasn't there?
Very easy.
Finally, he came to the Emperor's ship. The path behind him was strewn with dead ravens. The path to enlightenment. His mistake, he realized, was trying to change the world. The world would spin and the wheel would revolve whether he strove against it or not. What he had to do was nothing. He had attained enlightenment. He sat down, adopted a full lotus position, and began to meditate. And all around him, the warriors stopped fighting too. They knew. They could feel his enlightenment. They gave up fighting, dropped their weapons, and became his disciples. No, just kidding. The nearest raven stabbed him with a sword and chopped off his head. I might not have thought this through properly. Thought Renado's head as it rolled around the deck and died.
Nossa, eu morro nesse final. É isso então, né, gente? Finalizamos mais um final aqui. Para você que está acompanhando, continue acompanhando para ver o final das outras histórias, né? Vou finalizar todos para a gente ver o que vai acontecer aqui. Não sei o que vai acontecer, mas continuem assistindo. E continua no próximo episódio, claro, né? Valeu, galera, pela participação, pelos views. Compartilhem. Um abraço.